Have you ever stepped into an elevator alone and felt like someone else was already inside? It was 3 a.m. in a Chicago high-rise apartment building. A woman, exhausted from her late-night shift at the hospital, dragged herself into the elevator, her finger lazily pressing the button for the 17th floor. The doors slid shut with a soft hiss, enclosing her in the small, mirrored box. The fluorescent lights flickered briefly, casting eerie shadows in the corners. As the elevator began its ascent, the woman leaned against the wall, her eyes heavy with fatigue. But something made her skin prickle. A chill ran down her spine, and she couldn't shake the feeling that she wasn't alone. Her gaze drifted to the mirrored walls, scanning her own reflection. That's when she saw it. Just for a split second, in the corner of her eye, there was movement. A flicker of something. Or someone. Behind her. She whirled around, heart pounding, but the elevator was empty. Just her, alone in the confined space. The woman tried to calm herself, chalking it up to exhaustion and an overactive imagination. But as she turned back to face the doors, her blood ran cold. There, in the mirror, was a faint outline of a figure standing right behind her. Pale, almost translucent, with hollow eyes that seemed to stare right through her. She blinked hard, willing the image to disappear. When she opened her eyes, the figure was gone. The elevator continued its journey upward, the soft hum of machinery the only sound breaking the tense silence. The woman's finger hovered over the emergency button, her mind racing. Should she stop the elevator? Call for help? But what would she say? That she saw a ghost in the mirror. She'd sound crazy. So she waited, counting the seconds until she reached her floor, praying for the doors to open. Finally, the elevator dinged, announcing her arrival at the 17th floor. The woman practically leaped out, not even waiting for the doors to fully open. She fumbled with her keys, hands shaking as she unlocked her apartment door and slammed it shut behind her. The next morning, still shaken by her experience, the woman approached the building's security desk. She hesitated, unsure of how to explain what had happened without sounding insane. But the guard's expression changed as soon as she mentioned the elevator incident. "You're not the first," he said gravely, motioning for her to follow him into the small security office. The guard pulled up the previous night's CCTV footage, fast-forwarding to the early morning hours. There she was, entering the elevator at 3:07 a.m. The woman watched, heart racing, as the footage played out. At first, nothing seemed amiss. But then, as the elevator began to move, something strange happened. The elevator stopped. Not on her floor, but on the 5th. The doors opened to an empty hallway, then closed again. This pattern repeated. 8th floor. 12th floor. 15th floor. Each time, the doors opened and closed, as if an invisible passenger was getting on and off. The woman watched in horror as her recorded self stood oblivious in the corner, while something unseen manipulated the elevator. But the most chilling moment came when the elevator finally reached the 17th floor. As the doors opened and the woman rushed out, the guard paused the footage. There, in the mirror, was a clear image of a pale figure standing where the woman had been moments before. It turned slowly, facing the camera, its hollow eyes seeming to stare directly at them through the screen. The guard cleared his throat, his voice low and serious. "We've had reports like this before. Always late at night, always when someone's alone in that elevator. Some say it's the ghost of a man who died in there years ago. Heart attack, they think. By the time they found him." He trailed off, but the woman didn't need him to finish. Her mind was reeling, trying to process what she'd seen. The guard continued, "We've had the elevator checked, replaced parts, even had a priest come in once. Nothing helps. It just happens sometimes." The woman left the security office in a daze, her world turned upside down. She took the stairs for weeks after that, unable to bring herself to step into that elevator again. But she couldn't avoid it forever. One night, coming home late again, she found herself standing in front of those metal doors. Her finger hovered over the call button, heart pounding. She thought about taking the stairs, all 17 flights, but exhaustion won out. She pressed the button. As the doors slid open, she held her breath. The elevator looked normal, just like any other. But as she stepped inside, she couldn't help but glance at the mirror. Her own tired reflection stared back at her. Nothing else. No pale figure, no hollow eyes, just her. The ride up was uneventful. No mysterious stops, no flickering lights. When she reached her floor, she let out a sigh of relief. Maybe it had been a one-time thing, a trick of her tired mind. But as she stepped out, she caught a glimpse of movement in the mirror. She turned, just in time to see a pale hand reaching for the buttons inside the elevator. The doors slid shut before she could react, leaving her alone in the hallway, heart pounding. From that night on, the woman always took the stairs, no matter how tired she was. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was waiting for her in that elevator, something that didn't belong in this world. Months passed, and the incident faded into a frightening memory. But sometimes, late at night, she'd hear the distant hum of the elevator moving. She'd peek out her door and watch the floor indicator above the elevator doors. It would stop on random floors, open, close, move on. As if someone or something was still riding. Other residents began to notice too. Whispers spread through the building about the haunted elevator. Some brushed it off as urban legend, while others refused to ride alone at night. The building management tried to downplay the incidents, but the security footage didn't lie. Something unexplainable was happening in that elevator. Paranormal investigators were called in. Their equipment picking up strange energy readings and unexplained cold spots, but no concrete evidence was ever found to explain the ghostly encounters. Years have passed since that first terrifying night, but the legend of the haunted elevator lives on. New residents are warned in hushed tones to be careful when riding alone. Especially after midnight, some claim to have seen the pale figure themselves, while others report feeling an unseen presence or hearing whispers when the doors are closed. The woman who first encountered the entity has long since moved out, unable to shake the feeling of being watched every time she passed the elevator doors. But her story serves as a warning to others who might find themselves alone in that metal box late at night. So the next time you step into an elevator, take a moment to look carefully at your surroundings. Check the mirrors, the corners, the shadows. Because you never know when you might catch a glimpse of something or someone that shouldn't be there. And if you ever find yourself in that Chicago high-rise, waiting for the elevator in the early hours of the morning, you might want to consider taking the stairs. After all, you never know who or what might be waiting to join you on your ride.